Hello and welcome. I am Fiendly and this is Let's Play Twisted Metal Black. The iconic opening of Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones marks both a return to form and a huge departure for the Twisted Metal series. The original creators of the franchise took over development of this installment after it had strayed greatly in quality in the hands of a different studio, but they had new ideas of their own for this game. Twisted Metal Black ditches the colorful and often comedic setting of the original games, and instead produces something far more dark and disturbing, making it the first M-rated game in the series. As we'll be seeing, they made a concerted effort to earn that M rating by depicting violence, insanity, and the wholesale slaughter of the innocent with reckless abandon. Viewer discretion is strongly advised from here on out, but if you're sticking with me, now's as good a time as any to introduce our contestants. We get to choose from a whole slew of vehicles, each of them depicted frozen mid-combat, just to give you a taste of what we can expect from them in-game. You can also hit the circle button to get far more details on the character before we get to know them on the battlefield. There's a handful of locked vehicles we'll be seeing eventually, but our man of the hour is all the way at the end, Sweet Tooth. His profile says that the driver is also named Sweet Tooth, but that's more of a pseudonym. We'll get to know him better as Marcus or Needles Kane.
3 months in the nut house. It was the longest I'd ever been confined. So a few people had been killed. It wasn't my fault.
Please, no, I got a family.
Shut
please.
up and bleed, you motherfucker. Well, maybe it was my fault, but I had my own problems to worry about. The old man's curse was beginning to piss me off. But then one day, he showed up. Calypso, he called himself. It was a stupid name. I wanted to kill him there and then, but he made me an offer. He said he ran some kind of crazy contest. If I won his game, he promised to show me how to bring an end to the curse. No more headaches. As much as I had those old urges of mine, I kept them to myself for the moment. I figured I'd play along with his little game. After all, I could always kill him later.
Our hero, folks. And he's got one hell of a one-track mind. Now, in stark contrast to that mood-setting introduction, as soon as this loading screen ends, we're going to have to start running for our lives, as this game never lets up during actual gameplay. If you're not already running by the time you have control of your character, you may as well just give up. So as you can see, we're already under attack by an unseen opponent. Haven't even had a chance to get our bearings yet. For now, I wanted to stock up, but I saw my most favorite opponent, Mr. Grimm. Tiny little motorcycle with a red arrow pointed at it. After Sweet Tooth, Mr. Grimm is probably the most iconic character in the Twisted Metal franchise. He usually serves as the game's glass cannon, very much the case here, which means if we stay on top of him, we can take him out pretty quickly, and if we fail to do so, he can exact a horrifying revenge upon us. We're currently out of weapons except for Sweet Tooth's special, which is to transform into a clown mech, and as soon as I've got Mr. Grimm pinned, I will unleash hell upon him. The mech fires a volley of 20 missiles. Positively ridiculous, one of the most powerful specials in the entire game. Mr. Grimm never stood a chance. Now, jumped into that fuselage, got a nice health pickup for our trouble, And the environmental attack pickup we just got activates the gunner turret, which is still active on the fuselage. Not a very effective use of it, only 4 hits landed. I believe that also fires 20 missiles. But it's usually a very safe way to deal some quick damage. However, the environmental attacks are one of the very few attacks in the game that can hit the driver who uses them. So you do have to be somewhat careful. We're at about half health. The helicopter was dragging a nice health pickup for us, but it cycles through its available pickups. We merely got a machine gun upgrade. Machine gun has infinite ammo, but it can overheat. When you upgrade it, it has 30 extremely powerful shots that have no tracking whatsoever, so it's very hard to land them. But if you land all 30, you do a pretty disgusting amount of damage, comparable to Sweet Tooth's entire special, honestly. So far, I've made fairly poor use of the special. Now, probably the best thing about playing as Sweet Tooth is that it means Sweet Tooth is not one of your opponents. Usually, the way I find out that Sweet Tooth is in the area is suddenly getting hit by 20 missiles right in my back. Very quickly go from uninjured to dead that way. Particularly because Mr. Grimm is my favorite character to play as. Made sure to annihilate that bit of debris in the corner there. Almost everything in almost every level is completely destructible. It's one of the main selling points of the Twisted Metal series. The Junkyard here puts that to very good use, as we'll be seeing at some point. For now, though, I'm almost out of health. That's what this little platform is for. Park ourselves on top of that, and we get fully healed. Now we just need to rearm, and we'll be back in action. They're not going to make it easy, of course. The AI in this game almost exclusively targets you, the player. Here in the Junkyard, that's not too bad. You can make a quick escape in almost any situation. It's very well suited. And there's also pickups absolutely everywhere. Many, many health pickups. This is a very easy level. Nonetheless, the game is so fast-paced and frenetic that it can be such complete sensory overload the first time you play it that you'll still spend quite a few attempts to get through this. Sweet Tooth is a very strong first choice. Very strong special, very high armor. You can see we're chewing through opponents pretty easily. Manslaughter and Junkyard Dog both want a piece. In fact, we're down to pretty much just large enemies who, like ourselves, have very high armor. Manslaughter there is one of my most hated opponents. But for now, I'm sick of there being other painted-on smiles on the arena. The only one I want to see is Sweet Tooth's. So, we're going to destroy this guy. And in doing so, a bit of the debris has fallen down over there. The pizza box that he was proudly brandishing makes a ramp for us to get on top of the crusher. It's a little difficult to stay up there, although Sweet Tooth is ideal for that as well. He's fast enough to get up there with no problem, but not so fast that he flies off. Waiting for us is a nice health pickup. Plenty more ammo if we destroy the guard tower. And a mysterious object floating in the sky. If we dive into the Great Abyss, we collect our first black cube and unlock a multiplayer level. Not that exciting of a reward, honestly, but we're going to collect them all. Many of them are hidden in very interesting locations. And it's finally time to deal with Manslaughter. 60 missiles wasn't nearly enough. Manslaughter's a very, very slow opponent. So usually he's pretty easy to take out, but his armor is absurd. Nonetheless, we were able to kill him with one of my favorite weapons, the oil can. Junkyard Dog does not want us healing up. Can hardly blame him, but he was not able to stop us. I can assure you, he will pay dearly for that. Not just yet, though. Brimstone is our more immediate target, and he's a much smaller vehicle, so he barely put up a fight at all. Sweet Tooth has a bit of a grudge with Brimstone, but more on that later. You saw the helicopter actually took a hit there. Someone launched a missile at it. It can be destroyed, but that doesn't actually serve much of a purpose. It will respawn eventually. You'll just miss out on some potential pickups for a short while. Now, I see a couple of our opponents have grouped up. Since they rarely attack each other, this is a bad position to be in for us. Makes us outnumbered, and that can turn the tides against us very quickly. So I'll snatch some ammo and explore this area a little more. Haven't been up this way. Going forward can get us onto the broken highway. And this way, through the window, gets us into the warehouse where we've been before. If I'd angled that jump better, I would have gotten that health pickup there, which I could use, especially because the recharge station is all out of juice. You only get 2 per level. So while we're escaping, check out another secret. May not seem like that fire missile did anything there, but if we follow that plane clockwise around the arena, we shot down a passenger plane. That's one way you can tell this game was released in the spring of 2001. Any later in the year, that certainly would have been cut. Matter of fact, in the European version of this game, which was released in December of 2001, the plane has already crashed at the beginning of the level. You don't have to shoot it down, so you can just sort of imagine that it was a discarded fuselage. Destroying the console down here in the sewers unlocks our first hidden car, which is probably why they couldn't just cut this area entirely. Although the PAL version of this game is quite the hack job. They removed almost all the cutscenes, they got rid of all the loading screen dialogue, so you never know Sweet Tooth here revels in all this killing. Matter of fact, the instruction manual for this game makes a point of telling us why Sweet Tooth drives an ice cream van. It says that it's to attract the most innocent of potential victims. And then once he's got them nice and killed the way he likes them, tosses them in the back, where he keeps them on ice, along with the rest of his frozen treats. This game's director, David Jaffe, has described Sweet Tooth as an aspect of his own personality. He said the same of Kratos from God of War, which is another game he directed. So I think it's safe to say David Jaffe is one fucked up individual. And somehow, the depiction of Sweet Tooth in this game is not the most disturbing in the Twisted Metal series. Hopefully we'll get to that someday, but for now, we've killed Junkyard Dog, our second to last opponent. Very low on health and down to our residual ammunition from pillaging the sewers. Let's hope it's enough to take out our final enemy, Crazy 8. 2 direct hit specials. He's got a little fight left in him, but not nearly enough. Running out of opponents brings a very abrupt end to the battle. Normally, we'd have to complete 7 more levels as Sweet Tooth to find out the rest of his story. But like it says right here, we win. According to the deal we made with Calypso, it's time to cash in and collect our prize. First though, that battle must have taken a lot out of our hero. Let's check in with him for a little post-game interview, see what's on his mind besides a raging inferno.
I was out like the dying heartbeat of a little girl. It was the first time in forever I hadn't felt the burning and the dreams. Boys and girls, those were some wonderful dreams. All my greatest achievements flashed before my eyes. The scale of what I'd done, the sheer volume of people I'd killed, it was breathtaking. But like all good things, it had to end sometime. When they captured me, the only thing I could think was, what a waste. All those people I hadn't killed yet. Come the night of my execution, there must have been over 1,000 people gathered outside to watch me fry. I was upset about that. There should have been more. I remember there was this preacher in the observation room. I figured he was just some Bible thumper wanting to save my soul. But as it turned out, the old man had something else in mind. As I fried, he started screaming out like the freak he was. He asked God to curse me, to burden me forever with the flames of hell. It took me less than a minute to kill 3 police officers and get my mask back on. I never used to believe in curses, but it's been 3 months since that night, and the pain gets worse every day. So let me tell you something, boys and girls. I sure as hell believe in curses now.
Seeing is believing for poor old Sweet Tooth. He's been cursed to suffer in agony by a preacher and recent victim, the driver of Brimstone. But with him and all of the other drivers out of the way, it's onward to victory.
The contest was over, so I went and saw Calypso. I asked him to make good on his promise, to bring an end to all the pain, to take away my curse. He offered me a vial. He said inside it held the blood of the man who'd cursed me on the night of my execution. He told me if I drank it, my curse would be over. But he also said if I ever returned to my killing ways, the antidote would wear off, and the curse would come back to haunt me. I had to decide. It took me all of 10 seconds. Let's face it, boys and girls. A man has to have his priorities. I killed Calypso about as well as I ever killed anyone. Now that I'm free, I'm going to be the greatest of all time.
Needles Kane is free again and deadlier than ever now that he's killed the goose that laid the golden egg for everybody. It's rare that in a story about granting wishes, the wish granter suffers the ironic fate. That's probably why you don't want to cross an author insert character. Next time, we'll see if Calypso can make good on his bargain in a new twisted tale.